temperatures are sky high. I hope you have a great quality mesh chair to help you survive this heat because it is a scorcher out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't
If you're hot and sweaty, then get ready. I'm about to show you the best mesh chairs with warranty to protect against tears. From budget to baller, from shorter to taller, it's gonna be a vibe. Don't forget to subscribe. After this video, you won't be the hottest. So come on, everybody, let's get honest.
Oh, I had the craziest dream about mesh chairs that keep you cool. Speaking of cool, this is the coolest tech product I have tried in a very long time. If you're like me and you find singing cathartic and really soothing, but you're terrible at instruments, this thing here is a game changer. This is the Liber Live C1 stringless smart guitar, and it won a ton of awards at CES 2025, and it seems to be a fan favorite over on Reddit. It's a great music tool for noobs like me, as well as advanced musicians. For noobs like me, you can access the app's interactive music sheet, which has user-generated content for popular songs, and you can just start playing. The chord you need to press down will light up automatically, and each time you strum the paddle, the lyrics will automatically move with you. There's a second, smaller paddle as well that you can use, which will be a string picking pattern or even a different instrument depending on the song. And I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? My girl, my girl, my girl, talking about my girl, my girl. If you're an advanced musician, there are actually 21 different chord zones on the fretboard here, and you can set each zone to a different chord with up to 72 chord patterns. It also has multiple instrument tones, including guitar, piano, bass, and a drum machine, and you can set various picking or strum patterns to your liking for each paddle. Both paddles are pressure sensitive, so it's going to change the intensity of the sound based on how hard or how soft you hit it. The speaker on this thing blew my mind. Every review talks about how great it was. Honestly, I was skeptical until I heard it myself. This is what it sounds like. And finally, this thing gets insanely compact. You just fold it like that, and it's really small. I can pack it in my backpack and be on the go. My kids love this thing. I love this thing. I know you guys are gonna love it. Seriously, I think this is one of the coolest sponsorships I've ever done. Huge shout out to Liber Live for sponsoring this video. Link to it will be in the description below. And we're gonna be using this thing to see whether every chair on this list can guitar. Basically, can the armrest get out of the way so I can play a guitar on it? So with that being said, let's continue with the video. Finding a nice hammock for the hams in a mesh chair can be pretty tricky because a lot of mesh chairs actually use pretty cheap quality mesh, and some chairs have poor construction quality as well. This means that the mesh is gonna sag, especially if you're sitting in them all day. Now, if you pair that with a terrible warranty, that means you're gonna be stuck sitting in a chair that feels like you fell inside of a toilet seat. After reviewing over 100 chairs, I'm gonna give you my top mesh chair picks at every price point that also has solid warranty with a history of excellent customer service. I'll also call out the different height and weight ranges for each chair. Let's get honest. Some quick pro tips for using a mesh chair. Every single person who's using a mesh chair can greatly benefit from using a footrest, like this. Footrest. The nature of mesh chairs is such that because of this mesh material in the front here, sometimes that can make more contact with the thighs than feels comfortable, and a lot of people complain about pressure buildup in that thigh area. So when you use a footrest like this one can actually elevate pretty high if you needed to. So by using a footrest like this, what you're able to do is you're able to kind of elevate and raise that front thigh area off of that mesh, preventing that pressure buildup. Also, with the exception of one of these chairs, most mesh chairs are gonna be pretty terrible for single or double leg tuckers because the frame of a mesh chair is almost always going to be really solid and really hard and really stiff. Yes, we're still talking about mesh chairs here, guys. And because of that, if you single or double leg tuck, it can feel pretty uncomfortable on the ankle or the feet. Next is that warranty will not cover accidental damage to your mesh, so keep it in your pants. Sorry, not that. I'm talking about like sharp objects, like keep your knives and stuff in your pants. Also keep the other thing in your pants too, that's pretty disgusting. And finally, everything you see in this video will be linked in the description below. Using them, it costs you nothing, but it'll help continue to fund my rap career, which clearly needs a lot of help. No, I'm kidding. It helps keep this channel going. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on TV, you can use this QR code. The links will be there. I really appreciate your support. I've looked at mesh chairs that are under $100 and I haven't found any good ones that I can strongly recommend. And that's why we're gonna jump to that $100 to $200 price point. Here we have the Staples Dexley, and there's also the Staples Hyken. This is gonna range anywhere between $100 to $180. They go on sale all the time. Their prices kind of fluctuate all the time. And so that's kind of the range that you're working in. Now, the reason why Staples chairs in general are pretty freaking amazing is because Staples offers a 7-year warranty on their chairs. Dan from the future here. We realized while editing that Staples changed their warranty policy from 7 years to 5 years. So every time I say 7 years in this video, that is a mistake. It should be a 5-year warranty on their entire chair. And if you look online, a lot of people praise Staples for their warranty and customer service policy. If you want to see my favorite Staples chairs under $200, you can check out the video right here. But coming back to their mesh chairs, the Dexley that I have here and the Hyken are two of the most praised chairs, budget mesh chairs of all time. I used to have the Hyken at home, but I just recently donated it to a school in need, so I'm not going to have it for this video. But the Dexley is my personal favorite between the two. Now, the Dexley not only feels incredibly comfortable, like this mesh I think is tuned really, really well. The seat pan is fairly wide, and the number of features that you get at a chair at these price points are pretty ridiculous. The lumbar support is adjustable up and down. It's got a big cushy pad so it doesn't feel like it's digging in. And this headrest here is really large. I mean, the Hyken one has a pretty big one too, but the Dexley's I think is bigger, and I really like the way that it feels. It's been tuned, this mesh has been tuned really nicely for that head and neck area. Now, the Hyken does have the Dexley beat in terms of features because the Hyken has one thing that the Dexley does not have, which is the ability to tilt lock in multiple tilt angles. The Dexley can only tilt or lock in the upright position, and that's it. In terms of height and weight recommendations, I'm gonna generally recommend that the minimum height be around 5'4" and the maximum height be around 5'10", 5'11". These chairs don't really go all that tall, and you can see the headrest, the maximum height is here. Now this headrest can easily fit in that neck area, so again, 5'10", 5'11". I'm 5'6" for reference, by the way, and the maximum weight capacity on both of these chairs are gonna be 275 pounds. Now comes the question so many of you ask, can it guitar? So, with the armrests and how low they go, can a guitar actually be played on when you're sitting on this chair? When it comes to the Dexley, it looks like the answer is going to be no. This obviously isn't as big as a real guitar, so realistically it's probably gonna be about this high, which is really uncomfortably in my armpit right now. And if you're wondering about the Hyken's armrest goes about this low as well. Again, my son and I had it at home and we would use it, and this thing is about the same level. So on the Hyken, it's also going to be a no. Based on my reviews and research, there are a lot of good mesh chairs in that $300 price point, but again, this is about finding a mesh chair that is going to last, whether it's got good warranty, excellent build quality, and all of that stuff. And in that $300 price point, I really can't find anything that checks all the boxes. That's why the next price recommendation I'm going to recommend for a mesh chair is going to be around $400 to $450, and that is going to be a used Herman Miller Classic Aeron. A Classic Aeron, these things were first released in 1994, and the only place you're going to be able to find these things is on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, somewhere online, somewhere used online. These things are old. Most likely, the chair you're going to get is going to be over 20 years old, and I used to buy and sell these things, and I can tell you, I don't know how many people have sat in these chairs, but I can tell you that when I sit on them, the variance of the mesh sagginess from chair to chair was bare minimum. Like people you can look this up, people talk about how their chairs are 25, 30 years old and it still feels like a tank. And that's because these chairs were built like a tank with excellent mesh quality, just excellent construction quality overall. These things are really, really, really great. Because these chairs are so old, you're not gonna get any kind of warranty and you have no guarantees that the person you're buying it from has ever cleaned it or sanitized it. And because again, these things are so old, you just have no idea who's been sitting in this chair, how many booty juices this thing has absorbed over the years. And if that bothers you, I highly recommend my friends over at Crandall Office. They sell refurbished Aerons and they sanitize the chair completely top down. They replace a lot of the major parts as well. I believe the seat pan is one of those things that does get replaced, and they offer a 12-year warranty on the entire chair. Yes, you're gonna be paying a price premium, but again, these things are built like tanks, and if that's something that's important to you, then highly recommend those guys. Now, Herman Miller released a remastered Aeron in 2006. They updated the Aeron quite a bit. I'll talk about the key differences later when we talk about the remastered Aeron on this list. But just some things to note is that these chairs come in 3 different sizes, size A, size B, and size C. A is gonna be for my short friends, size B is gonna be for average height. And then if you're on the heavier side / taller side, I would say like 5'10" and you're on the heavier end, all the way to the top of the top, you gotta get the size C. The one I have here is the size B. And if you want a headrest for your chair, I highly recommend a company called Atlas Headrest. These guys make a headrest that's gonna be a 1-to-1 match with the classic Aeron colors and mesh. The one I have here obviously is not a match here. You can also get a fabric one like this. The frame color, they have the gray one that matches the classic gray frame that I have here, but I don't, this is just one I had on hand, which is why I attached it just to show how it kind of would look like on these chairs. Again, these things are phenomenal. I'll link it down below. You can get $5 off if you use my link. Can the classic Aeron guitar, let's go ahead and put it all the way down. And if I rest it here, this feels good. Realistically, it'd probably sit about here. I would say a little high, but plausible. Moving up now to $600 is the Fractal Refine Mesh Chair. I've reviewed this chair in depth. I compared it against the Alcantara fabric version of this chair. And this chair is probably gonna be best for people who sit upright. I find that the mesh is a little bit on the firmer side, though it has loosened up a little bit. And this chair overall, I think is really, really solid. It looks really good. It's the first attempt, I think, from a gaming company to try to make an actually ergonomic chair. And this thing is praised by so many people online. They really, really love this chair. They really like it, and I think for good reasons. Again, it has a ton of adjustability. It is not in that same gamer chair mold at all. This thing actually has a lot of ergonomic components to it. The lumbar support can be a little aggressive, but still feels pretty good. It's actually adjustable, and the arms and everything, it moves. Like, this thing is not a gaming chair whatsoever. It's a actually an ergonomic chair with gaming aesthetics. That's the best way to put it. And this mesh, the mesh on the Fractal Refine actually comes with a 3-year warranty, which isn't great, especially again, like that's why Staples, the 7-year warranty is absolutely nuts. Anyways, but the reason why the Fractal Refine made it onto the list is because Fractal is actually known. It's a PC gaming company. They're actually really well known for their warranty and their customer service. A lot of people have praised Fractal's warranty and customer service as being one of the best out there. And it seems like when Fractal released their chairs, the question was, oh, are they gonna be just as good with their chairs as they are in their PC components? And it seems like, from what I've seen online, that Fractal's warranty, their company has responded to warranty requests. It's just taken a little bit of time, but overall, I think a lot of people have stated that yes, they have gotten responses, they have gotten the things that were needed from the Fractal team, even though it might have taken a little bit of time. That might have been because they're first rolling this new, whole new side of the house product. They were rolling it out, but now that it's been established for a little while now, I'm hoping that the experiences only be good. If you guys disagree with my take on that, let me know in the comments below, and in the future, I will make a note or remove the Fractal Refine altogether for those reasons. My height range recommendation for this chair is gonna be 5'6" all the way up to like 6'4". For reference, I am 5'6", and when I sit on this chair, my feet are just barely making contact with the floor. I'd probably really wanna use a footrest with this to avoid that pressure buildup on the thighs. And because the headrest can go super duper high on this thing, and the back is really tall, I do recommend it for my tall friends. And if this headrest doesn't fit you perfectly, you can always remove it, and then you'll be fine without it. And in terms of weight recommendation, Fractal recommends a maximum weight of 275 pounds. Can the Fractal Refine guitar, let's get the armrest all the way down. If I rest it on here, it's like this. If I had a real guitar, it'd be somewhere around here, a little high, but plausible. In the price range of $700 to $1,000, you see a lot of slop. You see a lot of mesh chairs that look exactly the same, that are priced exactly the same, that claim that they have all these wonderful warranties. But generally speaking, what I'm seeing is that all these mesh chairs come out of China. Their warranties, it doesn't matter how many years they tell you. The warranty and the responsiveness of that warranty team always seems to be hit or miss, mostly miss. And even this chair here, which I think is a pretty darn good chair, even this chair seems to have warranty claims that are really hit and miss, but I think the mesh chair in general is really good. I think the build quality of this chair is really good, and they claim to have a 5-year warranty on the mesh. But again, I am not sure I can wholly recommend this chair just yet until I see more reports of warranty and warranty experience come in. But in case you do want to make that risk, I didn't want to just leave this huge gap between $600 and $1,000. So here, this is the Ergo Human Gen 2. I literally just did a deep dive review of this chair. chair. I think it's a great mesh chair, ton of adjustability, a lot of functionality. It's really ideally only gonna be for people who like to sit upright though, because I talked about this in the video, but if you tilt back, what you're gonna find is because of the way the backrest is kind of like shaped, you're gonna actually find that your like shoulders end up being kind of turned inwards. So it's probably best for people who like to sit up in their chair. I think if that's you, this thing offers a ton of support in this position and feels pretty darn good. This chair is probably gonna be great for people that are around 5'6", all the way to like super duper duper tall, because this backrest does go up a few clicks like this. The headrest does go really high. And for all those reasons, I think it's gonna be good for 5'6", all the way to the tippy top heights. Maximum weight recommendation on this chair, again, is 275 pounds. Can the Ergo Human Gen 2 guitar? Let's see. I think the guitar would actually be up here. I would say this is no. It'd just be a little too high on a real guitar. Before I move on, I need to rant a little bit about these $1,000 chairs, some of these gaming brands. Razer, Asus, these guys are all trying to sell you mesh chairs that are about $900 to $1,000, and their warranties suck. Asus is offering you a 2-year warranty on their mesh, which is absolutely abysmal for a $900 chair, although I think that chair is excellent. Like, I really, really like that chair. The fact that they're offering just a 2-year warranty is pretty darn terrible, and Razer is an even worse offender. They're selling their Fujin Pro for over $1,000, and they're offering a 1-year warranty on their mesh. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous, and I highly recommend you avoid these chairs because of it. That is not okay, and these chairs need to do a better job at offering better warranty policies and backing up their warranties for these crazy overpriced products. Next up, for about $1,100 is the Steelcase Carmen. This thing is a huge revolutionary jump when it comes to the mesh meta chair here, because every single mesh chair that you've seen so far, the frame has been stiff, it's been hard. Yes, we're still talking about chairs, I promise, but this Steelcase Carmen here breaks the mold by literally molding to you, because look at this flex here of this frame. Like, look how much that bends and moves. But the Carmen is so revolutionary because the entire chair now moves with you as you move and change positions throughout the day. The seat is flexible, the back is flexible, and it just feels really incredible. Not only that, but this mesh is using a much more fabric type feeling mesh, which is gonna feel so much better on your skin, on the back of your thighs, on your shoulders, on whatever's exposed. It just feels really great. Not only that, but you know, Steelcase, these guys make quality chairs, and you can tell for 2 reasons. One, they offer a 12-year warranty on the entire chair, but also 2, every single mesh chair that we've seen so far, the weight rating has been 275 pounds, but on the Steelcase Carmen, you get 350 pounds. That's how confident they are in these chairs. Not only do they give you a 12-year warranty, but they also give you a 350-pound rating on their mesh chair. This thing is gonna be great in terms of height range. It's probably gonna be great for people that are 5'4", all the way up to like 6'2", 6'3". There is a high back version, which I'm gonna talk about in just a second, but really quickly, you might remember what I said earlier, that there's probably only one mesh chair where you can single and double leg tuck, and that's gonna be on the Carmen, because this frame here, not only is it flat, but also the edges here, it's using like a rubbery type plastic here, which has a lot more flex and doesn't feel as stiff. And so if you are single or a double leg tucker, this is gonna feel totally fine inside of this chair. Feels really good, and it just does a phenomenal job. Now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the high back version over here, which is very similar to this one here in a lot of ways. You know, again, it's gonna have that super flexible back here. The difference is you can see just how much taller this backrest is, and it's also got this kind of adjustable little headrest pad, which is pretty useless, to be honest. Like, it doesn't add that much padding here. I will say one of the big drawbacks that you need to note is that this seat depth is not adjustable. And so you can see that me being 5'6", you can see that it's actually not that deep at all. And so even though it's got a higher back for my taller friends, you do have to be okay with the fact that you're not gonna get a ton of leg support in the seat. I do think that's a big miss on the Carmen. I just don't know why they wouldn't adjust it or make it deeper on the high back version, because again, I know you tall guys out there, you got some long legs, right? I can't relate, but I know you do. I just wish they would offer that. And also the seat cushion in general is gonna be tuned to be a little bit more on the firmer end, something to keep in mind. So if you're someone who likes that soft, kind of hammocky, like you kind of drop into it and it just really hugs those hams, this one probably isn't gonna be it. You're sitting more on top of this mesh material than you will be on something like an Aeron, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And now, can the Steelcase Carmen guitar? Oh, look at that. It does go pretty low. If I had to hold it here, I could still play it fairly comfortably, so plausible. Let's see if anything changes on the high back. Let me lower it there. Again, yeah, plausible. Coming in now at $1,400 is the Herman Miller Mira 2. This thing is not nearly as well known as the Herman Miller Aeron, but some people swear, the people who've been able to sit on this chair, swear that this thing is better than the Aeron. I think it's for a couple of reasons. One is because this chair actually has more adjustability than the Aeron. For example, on the seat here, you can actually adjust it to be deeper or more shallow and lowered like this, which prevents that pressure buildup on the thighs here. So that's really cool right there. Also, the backrest here, the design of it is gonna be wider and it doesn't really have those super hard bulky edges like the Aeron. So a lot of people are able to spread out and get a much more back support, upper back support in the Mira 2 as well. This thing is designed really well. The lumbar support, generally speaking, is more adjustable as well. You're able to raise it up and down as well as move it in and out as well to tighten it. And the Aeron lumbar support at the highest end, you can't move them up and down. You can only move them in and out, and even then it's barely. The Mira 2, you can not only move it up and down, but when you tighten it, you really do feel a difference. I personally prefer this version that I have here. This is the butterfly suspension back. The reason why I like this version here, not the hard plastic exposed version, is because this fabric offers a little bit of padding, which I think is very much needed. Maybe it's just because I have a little kid's back, and so I can't handle it, but I do feel like this cushioning here really makes a huge difference. I really, really like it. I have tried the one without it, and I did feel like it was just too hard. Herman Miller is a top tier chair brand. You can see how much they stand behind their mesh material and their chairs because a 12-year warranty, proven history of excellent customer support. Something to keep in mind is that the Mira 2 has a mesh that, again, kind of like the Carmen, where you're sitting on top of it, it's a firmer mesh style compared to an Aeron, which you're kind of like sinking into it like a hammock. Some people don't love that sinking feeling. They feel like their butt falls asleep, whereas when you're sitting more on top of it, it feels a little bit more like a traditional fabric chair, and because of that, they find that their butts don't fall asleep as much. It just kind of depends on what you prefer. Are you someone who likes it harder or someone who likes it a little bit softer, a little bit more gentle, In terms of height recommendation, you can see this thing does get really low. Again, I'm 5'6" for reference. I think you could be as low as like 5'3", and on the high end, you can be super duper tall because of that tall backrest here. It's open, you can get excellent back support all the way up. So I think it's gonna be good for the entire kind of height range here. And again, 350-pound weight limit on the Mira 2 as well. But can the Mira 2 guitar, let me go ahead and put this arm all the way down. Oh, I think this is the only yes so far. I mean, look at this. Look how low that armrest goes. And look, this guitar is actually too low right now. So on a real guitar, that'd be raised more like this. Yes, definitely yes on the Mira 2. And finally, we have what some people consider the king of mesh chairs, the Herman Miller Remastered Aeron. This one here is a size B, and this over here is a size C. I brought in both of them, not just to flex on you guys, but to also show you guys the key differences, the size differences between the B and the C. These things are now, I believe, at $1,880, so under $1,900, and these things are phenomenal. There's a lot of differences between this and the classic Aeron. For the biggest ones, like the biggest changes are going to be this waterfall edge here. So I think Herman Miller heard a lot of complaints from people with their thighs falling asleep, and what they ended up doing was they made the front kind of fall down a little bit faster. They kind of made this thing tilt down quicker so that when you're sitting in the chair, your thighs aren't making nearly as much contact with the front edge here so that you get that kind of pressure relief there. They also really changed up the lumbar support as well. You can see that this thing actually comes up a lot higher and lower. And so that's gonna give you some additional sacral support on that lower end and a little bit extra support on that lower back. This thing can only move in and out, kind of like what I was talking about earlier. And the arms are also a lot more adjustable on this new one as well. The old ones, you can only, I believe, turn them in and out, and that's it. With these new remastered Aeron arms, you can move them forward and back, and you can swivel them as well. And so that makes it feel really, really good. And also the cushioning on these things are gonna be phenomenal. One feature that a lot of people don't talk about is that this tilt tension knob, so this knob here is going to determine how easy or difficult it is to tilt in your chair. On the classic Aerons, this thing was pretty much like, it just didn't work. In order to feel the real difference between tilt tension, you'd have to turn it like 20, 30 times. I'm happy to report that on these remastered Aerons, if you turn it maybe about 5, 6 times, you feel a significant difference in tilt tension. So that is a huge improvement here, especially people who have, maybe not the best wrists in the world, a little older, or just had an injury there, so something to keep in mind. But yeah, overall, the remastered Aeron is a large improvement over the classic Aerons. This thing is going to, again, I kind of talked about $1,880. Comes in 3 different sizes, size A, size B, size C. It's gonna have the same exact principles. Size B, I think, is the easiest to nail down, and that kind of helps you understand whether you should go size A or size B. And then if you're on the heavier side at like 5'10", 5'11", you can see that this chair is a bit wider. And so if you're on the heavier end, you could probably start fitting into the size C size. And the size A really is only for people who are shorter, not so much skinnier, because the size B is like pretty narrow of a chair. So size A is really gonna be for people that are a lot on the shorter end, that are shorter than 5'3". So something to keep in mind. These headrests here, again, they're made by a company called Atlas Headrest. You see you have the one-to-one matching colors on the plastic frame here, and you can get it in the fabric version, which I personally think is more comfortable. I really like this much better. Or you can get it on the one-to-one matching mesh. I think this looks better, but I like the way the fabric feels better on my head and my neck. Again, Herman Miller backs these chairs up, 12-year warranty on the entire chair. And on the size A Aeron, it's gonna be a weight limit of 300 pounds. But on the size B and the size C, these things are gonna hold up to 350 pounds. And finally, Canon guitar. Let me go ahead and lower the armrest here. And, oh. Yeah, actually, it's pretty plausible. I know, again, a guitar is gonna have a bigger butt than this, but I can actually rest it here, and I could actually play a little bit. So, plausible. Now that you've watched this video, you won't be the hottest. Until next time, stay honest.